One of the questions that often gets asked is, what's the economic impact of immigration to the UK? And that's been much debated over the years. Governments can't appear to decide. In the year 2000, the then government was talking about having a global war for talent because it was perceived that the UK couldn't be successful without largely dismantling many of its immigration controls and having a surge of economic migration, which to some extent did happen. But then within a few years of that, we had a different government policy in which the stated aim was to reduce net migration from hundreds of thousands to tens of thousands a year, and successive prime ministers saying that we had far more migration than the economy actually needed. And against all of that backdrop, the question remained, what is the economic impact overall of migration to the UK? We then have the Brexit debate, and immigration perceived very, very broadly as a problem, featured in that to a very large extent. Take back control of our borders was one of the mantras that was pushed. I would suggest that it's quite clear now, post-Brexit, that in the sense that that was meant, in other words, illegal migration to the UK through dangerous cross-channel dinghies and the like, has never been more out of control than it currently is. But putting all that to one side, there has never really been true consensus on the economic impact of migration, and I think that's because migration is such a complex thing. People move for family reasons, they move to escape poverty, war, and people come here because of economic reasons. Often they have to be persuaded to come here, particularly the very highly skilled who have skills that the economy is perceived to need. Overall, if there is a consensus, it's that the impact of migration is broadly neutral, because migrants age like everybody else and go from making a positive to a negative economic contribution over the course of their lives, because that's what human beings do wherever they've come from or however long they've been in a place. So I would argue there's a broadly but mildly positive effect of migration, but that it's felt much more acutely as a positive impact in those areas where high levels of skill or simple skill shortages are very apparent, in high tech, in industry, often in business and finance as well, and also quite obviously in public services too. Without migration, there would be a much worse situation there than there currently is. So overall, a neutral to mildly positive impact, but in certain areas it's still something that's absolutely essential to our economy